ただいまよりハイレベルサミットを開始いたします。We will now begin the high-level summit. The chair is Mr. Amaro Gomez-Pablos. So, Mr. Amaro, the floor is yours.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you, my dear Tanaka. And yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to please be seated because we are about to begin our roundtable. Gentlemen, please, if you could take a seat. We're about to begin our roundtable. A very good morning to all of you and welcome back to day 2 of the high-level summit on safety, health, and well-being for all here at the Expo 2025 in the vibrant city of Osaka. And yesterday we heard compelling perspectives from global leaders, from business innovators, and from public authorities, all of them united in a shared vision to make safety, health, and well-being a universal right, not a privilege. And today we move forward with 3 defining moments. First, we will begin with a high-level roundtable featuring leaders from international organizations and from global companies, reflecting on the evolving world of occupational safety and health leaders in building strong, human-centered workplaces. And next, we will hear from the World Assembly of OSH Professionals, which is a new global network born just days ago, right here, through 8 vibrant workshops. And today, they will be presenting their founding declaration and vision for the future of the profession. And finally, we're going to be closing with a symbolic handover ceremony, passing of the torch, if you like, from Osaka to the next World Expo host in Riyadh for the Expo 2030 under the theme, The Era of Change, Together for a Foresighted Tomorrow. So today definitely promises to be rich with vision, with momentum. Let us begin with purpose and with unity, and also with that unwavering belief in safety, health, and well-being for all, which is not just a vision, but rather a shared responsibility and a future that we're shaping together. So, with no further ado, let us begin with this round table. And I will be posing 2 questions, 2 guiding themes. Have you seen OSH, SHE or SHE, leadership evolve to drive cultural and systemic change in your sector? And the other question that I will be posing is what leadership qualities or strategies have been most effective in embedding SHW, safety, health, and well-being, and at the heart of your business? And let us hear from, let me introduce first all of our members of the panel. With us, Vanessa Hardwood-Witcher, she's CEO of IOSH, Institution of Occupational Safety and Health. Un aplauso, as they say in Spanish. An applause for her. Also with us, Seong Hing Ho, President of IALI, International Association of Labor Inspection. Good to have you with us. Malcolm Staves, Global VP Health and Safety from L'Oreal, and just awarded. Karina Yolth, she's Global Head of HSE and Safety and Transformation from Marks. I am pronouncing it right, thank you. And with us also, Ralf Franke, Global Head of EHS at Siemens. Wonderful. So who's going to be volunteering and raising their hand to pitch their insights? Who would like to start? Wonderful.
Hello?
Yes, it works.
Excellent. Oh, right. Well, question 1?
Yes, please.
Yes, yeah. Well, definitely. We've seen a lot of change in the role of occupational safety and health leaders. So particularly the stretching of the role from traditional safety into much broader issues around human capital and sustainability. So I'm speaking as Chief Executive of the world's largest organisation for occupational safety and health professionals. I'm not an OSH professional by profession myself, but many of the top leaders from the profession are IOSH members and active advisors. Because OSH leaders at the highest level take part in designing and implementing the strategy and priorities for their businesses, they've helped us appreciate how interwoven health and safety and sustainability now are. Our Business Leaders Forum was instrumental 5 years ago in planning the evidence-based campaign we launched in 2021 called Catch the Wave. This presented a strong new argument for the central role OSH plays in promoting decent work conditions. Effective OSH policies are even more important. They're instrumental in organisations because not only do they prevent harm, they also support mental health, reduce absenteeism, and foster social cohesion. Good OSH management is a predictor of corporate sustainability too. When employees perceive their workplace as safe, they're more committed, more productive, and innovative, which of course enhances organisations' ability to achieve sustainable development. So that's the end of my first question.
That is fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Mr. Ho, would you like to follow?
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank the organizer for inviting me to speak in this high-level forum, and this is indeed our privilege. Now, to address the question, I want to look at the role of occupational safety and health leaders to evolve towards acting as a catalyst for a broader culture of health, safety, and sustainability. So, distinguished colleagues, I'd like to speak to you about the role of OSH and SHE leaders in shaping the future of workplace safety and health, as well as sustainability. Now, gone are the days when safety leaders are solely about compliance. Today, we call to be catalysts for transformation, architects of cultural change, and champion of sustainable practices. The modern OSH leaders faces a complex landscape that demands a delicate balance of responsibility. We must integrate safety and sustainability into the very fabric of business strategy, fostering psychological safety where every voice matters, and leverage innovative technology to stay ahead of emerging challenges. To do that, I would like to give a simple framework to look at, and that's the three ways of doing things. First is to know the way. Second is to show the way as leaders. And finally, the need to go the way. Now, knowing the way, as leaders, we must possess clear vision and deep understanding. We need to anticipate trends, chart strategic roadmaps, and set measurable objectives that align with our organization's broader goals. This isn't just about knowing safety regulations. It's about understanding how safety integrates with business success. So it's important, you as OSH leaders, to know exactly which way you are going. Now, knowing the way itself may not be good enough because it's important that you show the way. This is where vision transforms into action. We must build robust systems, provide resources, and establish effective monitoring mechanisms. But more importantly, we must embody the safety behavior we expect from others. Our actions speak louder than any safety policy ever could. So it's important that as leaders to be able to show the way, and communication is key. The ability to communicate clearly which way we are going and the direction we are going is very important, and that's why we need to show the way as leaders. But last but not least, it's important to go the way together with the stakeholders. This is about bringing people along on a journey. We must build and empower high-performing teams, foster cross-departmental collaboration, including internationally and locally, and maintain momentum through continuous improvement. It is about celebrating successes while learning from setbacks, always moving forward together. So our role as OSH leaders extends far beyond traditional safety management. We are catalysts for cultural transformation, champions for sustainability, and architects of organizational resilience. By knowing the way, showing the way, and going the way together, we can create organizations where health, safety, and sustainability are truly embedded in the organizational DNA. The future of safety leadership is not about standing apart and directing. It's about standing together and inspiring. Let's embrace this evolution and lead the way towards safer, healthier, and more sustainable workplaces. Thank you.
Wonderful, Mr. Ho, very much. Thank you. Before I give the pass to Malcolm Staves, I should say that I actually know him as the Hummingbird Man. And yes, he was just recently awarded, but I know the hummingbird rings a tone and is especially symbolic in Japanese culture. It is also personally symbolic for him. And before you reply, you should let us perhaps know why.
Well, you've definitely thrown me off my speech, haven't you, there?
I'm happy.
The hummingbird, as many of you may know or not, it's all about, it's a story actually. It's a Latin American children's story from thousands and thousands of years ago. And basically the message is that none of us are insignificant. We can all make a contribution no matter how small. Yet if everybody here on the stadium, every one of us made a little change every day, that's pretty important. But if every one of you made a change, a small change every day, it becomes bigger. So why not think of everybody in L'Oreal or everybody that works in health and safety or everybody that works in a country? If you do a little bit every day for health, safety, or even the environment, together and collectively, we can make a big difference. So that's the hummingbird. And I'm going to do one bit more, since I've got the mic, okay? Yeah? My mum and my father, who sadly are no longer with me, I'd just like to know, part of it, my mum signifies what a hummingbird was and always would be, and she inspires me even today. I have a little bit of her with me, as I have a little bit of my father with me as well. I have some sort of garters here that keep my sleeves up, that were my father's, and my mother gave me a ring, and I also have hummingbird cufflinks. So I just wanted to put that in there if I can.
Thank you for that.
Going back to the future, I mean, I'm not a health and safety professional. I don't have a single health and safety qualification. My background is engineering. I went through plant management, and sort of safety was something that happened or not. I had explosions every day in my facilities, and the way you didn't actually try and stop the explosions, you actually contained them when they went bang. Right? And I fell into safety the hard way. And at that time, it was all about engineering. And EHS, or health and safety, was done by the experts. And it was all about compliance. Compliance is even still important today because none of us have the right to be outside of the law. The law is there to set standards. And sometimes those companies need it. But the future of health and safety is to keep that, but also to develop our expertise that supports and challenges and tries to find the right kind of risks. But on top of that, as rightfully as in the title, we should not be just experts or just managers. We should be leaders. But the thing is with the word leadership, it's not about your title, it's about people that are following you. And how do you develop those, what some people call soft skills? But I call them power skills. What are the power skills that you need to bring people along with you? And then finally, and it's just as important, is the coaching. How do we mentor and coach those people that are other leaders, other EHS professionals, and how do we give back? The future of health and safety is less and less in the hardcore engineering, but on bringing the management, developing EHS professionals so we can go to somewhere else. A higher plane of looking after and literally developing what I'd like to see as a vision of a culture where we care for everybody. Those people that work for us, their families and the larger communities. It's a great profession and I love this profession.
And from passion to passion, Carina Ford.
Thank you. And first and foremost, I would just like to say that it's a big honor for me to sit here on the stage with all this wealth of knowledge here and also out there with all of you who are taking part in this session. So just building a bit on what you've already shared of all the great insights and experience, I share some of these insights. So what I would like to pitch here is that when I look at how the HSE leaders' role has evolved over the years, it has really been from being primarily focused around compliance to really becoming catalysts for a much broader, much more holistical and proactive approach to safety, to really a culture of care, as you just mentioned as well, Malcolm. Safety is much more than standards and processes. We cannot live without standards and processes, especially not in high-risk environments. But it's really about what is beyond that. What is that shared mindset around safety that all of us are working very, very hard to weave into the DNA of all our organizations, into the core, into the systems. HSE leaders are really enablers of that HSE isn't, or occupational health, safety and well-being, that it isn't a parallel track, but it's fully embedded into the business strategy, that it is a priority, that it is a pillar in what operational excellence looks like. So this movement is really helping, moving the conversations from much more than compliance to value creation, to seeing how a focus on mental well-being, safety, health for all, that is really a key enabler for every organization. I have also seen the HSE roles over the years becoming much more of a creator for giving much more space to the frontline voices to directly influence global processes. So in Maersk, where I work, we have an annual event. We call it the Global Safety Awards, and it's basically about crowd surfing all sorts of great ideas and solutions and innovations throughout, or from the entire world, from across all our segments, about great safety improvements. One of the recent winners' innovation has actually been scaled globally. And this is just an example of how frontline insights, facilitated and guided by great HSE and us professionals, leaders, business partners to the organization, how they help drive this voice directly from the front line and then impacting the core business processes. That is also showcasing something that Maersk believes very much in, which is people are the experts. People in our operations, in our front line, they exactly know what makes safety either easy or difficult to do. So by listening to them, by engaging directly with them as not only us leaders, but any business leader, that really brings empowerment and engagement. It creates trust, and it also supports the creation of a psycho-social working environment where people feel listened to. And then we hear much more about what is really making a difference in the front line with the business, with the people that we all care so much about.
So, Karina, to understand, it's global awards coming from within the company. And I'm going to be asking you later on real-world examples on that issue. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Ralph Franke.
Hello.
How do you do?
Still good.
Excellent. Share your insights with us, please.
Now, let me start with a, let's say, more basic statement. And so for me, there is no separate health and safety culture in a company. There's only one culture in a company, and health and safety should be part of it. And second one is that safety is not a priority. It's a value. So because priorities will change, but values, they stay, and that make let's say, a very impactful part of a culture. When I started at Siemens, it was 2009 with a task to set up EHS at Siemens. It was not existing before, so I started from ground zero. And here EHS was driven by compliance. So the manager said, is there a law for something? Then we do it. If there is no law, then we don't do it. So this was the starting point. And my people at those days, the safety guys, they were kind of acting like policemen. So give me a regulation, give me a law, and I take care that it is going to be executed. And then I said, well, maybe this is not really good for the future and maybe not the right approach. And then I started to appoint managers from the business being the top leaders in my EHS organization, just to change the mindset and the let's say, also the business acumen. Yeah. And that changed a lot. And meanwhile, today, my EHS leaders are became key strategic partners, consultants, helping drive a future where health and safety, sustainability, and also productivity are intertwined and foundational. And my future vision, so looking forward, is that we don't need any longer EHS people in my organization. Oops.
It's an integral part of the culture.
I tell you why. So stay cool. I give you a metaphor, or it's like a pilot in an aircraft who knows exactly how to operate the aircraft with the support of technology in a safe way. There's no health and safety guy sitting in the back telling him how to operate the aircraft. So therefore, the goal is that leaders and employees know exactly where are the risks, how to evaluate the risks, and how to draw the right conclusions out of it. So this is the fundament. But maybe the pilot needs some mental aid, psychological aid, because he is stressed, or needs some medical advice because he is operating in different time zones, having unhealthy nutrition and these kind of things. And that creates then maybe an idea how to shift the skill set and competency of my EHS people from being the policeman, being now the strategic partner, then to something different, beyond compliance, beyond, let's say, checking the risks and assessing the risks and mitigating the risks, to a way where we can create working conditions where people can unfold their potential. And here maybe it needs a little bit like psychological know-how, maybe a little portion of organizational development, how to create these working conditions where people can unfold their potential, not only avoiding harm and hazards, and maybe adding some competence on data analytics, how to evaluate the business, how to understand circumstances and correlations, and then finally also having the competence to consult them, to consult the business, the leaders, the employees, how to identify issues, and then also sit together and developing the respective solutions. So therefore, finally, I think when we move beyond the viewing of safety and health as a risk mitigation, and then instead see us as a kind of catalyst for innovation, sustainability, and business success, then I think we are somehow closer to the future, to a successful future.
Crystal clear. Malcolm?
If I can add, you know, there's a critical role that maybe none of us have sort of mentioned or we've implied. It's also to be the conscience of the companies that we work for. Some companies don't really get it, and the drive-in and the number of fatalities or serious injuries is high. And in fact, globally, it's not really improving. So one of the first things that we have to do as professionals within our system is not lose sort of sight of the fact that people die. People die in some of our organizations, if not all of our organizations. And our first approach, we cannot lose sight of the high risk management, making sure we identify how that's going to happen and how we can prevent that so people go home. So I agree with everybody of where we're going, but those fundamental things, we have to remember that's our job. And that's what we have to do. Yep. And I think I would like to add that to our discussion.
Thank you, because you're paving the way to the second bit of the round table. And Ralph, it was crystal clear, the fact that indeed it is a value, not a priority, and that it is now ingrained in the DNA of your employees. That being said, in this second round, to explore what has worked to engage senior leadership precisely in SHW and safety, health, and well-being, but real-world examples where executive leadership have advanced those goals. And perhaps, Vanessa, we can start with you.
With me?
Oh, if you want, Rolf, go ahead. I was asking Vanessa.
Vanessa, sorry.
But please.
I'll go.
Go for it.
Ladies first, eh? So I think the first thing for me is being a leader, you lead by example, so that is absolutely fundamental. So it's your responsibility as a leader to position occupational safety and health as a core business value. I think we've spoken about that on the stage already. So leaders have to embody attitudes, behaviours that go way beyond compliance and that really create that lasting cultural change. So it sounds like a theme that we're all talking about. I think also personal accountability is absolutely essential. So leaders have to model safe and healthy behaviours. They have to do that by demonstrating integrity, upholding safety standards, and setting a clear example for everyone in the organisation, and also through the supply chain. So it's not just about the people that are directly employed. And when senior leaders visibly champion OSH, it sends a really powerful message that this is a priority, and of course that builds trust and psychological confidence. It's really important that this commitment is genuine and that it's integrated into strategic objectives and that it's communicated regularly as a non-negotiable priority. I think the next thing is really thinking about how you integrate OSH into your business strategy. So embedding OSH into core business processes, ensuring safety and health are woven into governance, risk management, and operating decisions. And investing in developing a safety culture and providing training at all levels. So really thinking about encouraging frameworks such as the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle that helps to drive continuous improvement, making safety part of every business initiative. You've got to think about how you communicate openly and engage. Again, we've heard that through some of the examples on the stage already, because this can really improve productivity, profitability, staff retention, and customer loyalty. It's fundamental to positioning OSH as a core value. And we've heard about this on the stage already as well, about how leaders should encourage honest conversation about risk and ways to do things better. That regular communication builds trust and empowers all staff to contribute to safety goals. We have to listen really actively and value employee input. When workers see their concerns addressed, of course, engagement and ownership increase. I've experienced this personally in my own organisation in IOSH. So we set up a reverse mentoring initiative with colleagues, so people that are more junior in the organisation mentor more senior leaders. And I've personally benefited from that because it's really helped me to understand our business from new angles. I'd really encourage benchmarking against global best practices to help assess safety culture and performance, acting on the findings that benchmarking shows, closing the gaps and promoting continuous improvement. So at IOSH, again, we set measurable objectives, just so, and review them routinely so we can actually show OSH as a dynamic core business priority. I think great leaders just empower others. So leaders, managers, supervisors should always be equipped to lead on safety, not just manage it. And for these reasons, about 30 years ago now, IOSH launched 3 different training courses, working, managing and leading safely. And over those years, we've trained over 1.5 million people worldwide to help to identify, assess and manage risk. And particularly leading safely helps leaders to understand their responsibilities and the business benefits of robust OSH management. We also look at leading sustainably, and that really builds on that leadership, putting heart at the heart of business, OSH, and really making sure that it focuses on sustainable business leadership, preparing for long-term success and a positive workforce culture. I think my tip is don't underestimate recognising and rewarding safety and health excellence. It really reinforces positive behaviours and embeds safety deeper into company values. We also believe that promoting inclusivity and well-being is fundamental to workplace culture. A strong OSH culture respects and values every individual's right to a safe and healthy working environment that supports diversity. And of course, it encourages people to bring their whole selves or their authentic selves to work. And finally, something that's really close to my heart is leading with empathy and moral conviction, because it shows genuine care for people's well-being. It builds credibility, trust, and a shared sense of purpose. So in essence, the most effective leaders make OSH a visible strategic priority. They communicate openly, benchmark and improve continuously, empower others, and nurture a culture where safety and health is everyone's responsibility. By doing so, we protect people, enhance productivity and reputation, and drive sustainable business success.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Ho, how would you basically also share with us that executive leadership in the implementing of these goals? What would you add?
Thank you. Before I answer the question, I was trying to supplement the analogy that you use about the pilot. Inside, he's the #1 man piloting the aeroplane and been assisted by technology and people that are on board. And the good thing that I noticed is that that pilot is also on board. And if something happened to the plane, it will include him. That reminds me of a story of DuPont when they were manufacturing explosive. And before that, there were a lot of explosion until the CEO said, to stop this explosion, we have to move our house to where the plant is. And if only our lives are at stake, then everybody start waking up, including the CEO.
That's
right?
quite a bold move.
Yes. And another story that I heard in my 43 years as working in occupational safety and health, I've met many CEOs and companies. One of them is the pharmaceutical company. He told me that no product is so good and so profitable that I will do it and if it cannot be done safely. In other words, if I cannot manufacture it safely, even though it's highly profitable, I will not do it. And that type of values and culture is something that I thought can strike a good idea of what it is all about. Now, the heart of our OSH leadership approach must be built on core values. And these are some of the core values that we talk about. Allow me to share 3 core values that I use to embed it on other organizations. Now, to delve it deeper, first, we must have ambition. Ambition itself is no good, but you must have ambition with purpose. One of the good things about occupational safety and health, if we set an ambition like Vision Zero, it has a strong purpose because it's about saving lives. Right? This isn't about setting arbitrary zero accident targets or making grand declarations. It is about crafting meaningful, bold objectives that resonate with both boardroom executives as well as frontline workers. For instance, when we set the goal to eliminate high-risk activities, we must simultaneously invest in innovative solutions and new technologies that maintain or enhance productivity. It also means having the courage to say no to unsafe practices at every level of the organization, even when there's commercial pressure to proceed. It is about demonstrating that safety excellence and business success aren't competing priorities. They are mutually interdependent. Consider this, every time we approve a new project or process, we should ask ourselves, not just, can we do this safely, but how can we do this safer than ever before? This ambitious mindset, grounded in a practical business understanding, devises genuine innovation in safety practices. Next value that I look at is about giving the capabilities to our people to do the work. This is perhaps our most powerful lever for sustainable change. When we invest in our people's development, we create a multiplier effect. Each trained supervisor and workers becomes a safety champion. Each empowered worker becomes a risk spotter. Each manager we develop becomes a future safety leader. This means creating structured development pathway from basic safety awareness to advanced risk management skills. It means providing opportunities for hands-on experience, mentoring programs, and continuous professional development. But it's not just about technical skills. We need to develop emotional intelligence and communication abilities and leadership capabilities as well. When someone joins our organization, there should be a clear path for growth in safety leadership. Finally, bringing people together represents our role as cultural architects. Safety excellence cannot exist in isolation. It requires breaking down traditional barriers between operations, maintenance, engineering, and safety systems. It means creating forums where a junior operator feels confident sharing safety concerns with senior management. It's about building bridges between different departments, different levels, as well as different perspectives. This could manifest as cross-functional safety committees, joint risk assessment, or collaborative incident investigation. It's about creating spaces, both physically as well as psychologically, where people can come together to solve safety challenges. When an engineer and an operator work together to design a safer process, when HR and safety teams collaborate on well-being initiatives, when contractors and permanent staff share safety learnings, that's when we'll see real cultural transformation. The power of these 3 values lies in their interconnectedness. Our ambition drives us to grow our people, who in turn come together to achieve what might seem impossible. When we get this right, safety becomes more than a priority. It becomes a shared value, woven into every decision, every action, and every conversation in our organization. Thank you.
It's interesting how the points are converging. Thank you very much, Mr. Ho. Again, the notion that it is not a priority, it is a value, bringing people together, that shared vision, and also the courage to say no. Now, Malcolm, if you could share, because I'm sure that you've got ample examples, a real-world example of all of the latter, of all of what we've been talking.
So far, wow. Huh? I mean, creating safety leaders is like creating hummingbirds in my organizations. You know, we have to remember that our senior leaders are people and they're human. And, you know, they have lots and lots of priorities going in the day. You know, and finance people, we often think they don't get it. Marketing people, sales people, and so on and so forth. Manufacturing very often is the easy option, right? What I found based on experience, and it comes from actually, it started from my dad. So this is the first of my stories, right? My dad told me a long, long time ago when I was going out starting work, as a technician on a steel manufacturing facility. He said, Malcolm, if it's important for your boss, it's important for you. And that stuck with me forever. And what I've realized is that, you know, if you can get a senior leader just to take that step and engage, his influence is tremendous, right? So even today, I'm going to say like people projects. I choose a senior manager that really isn't on board. I get to know them, I develop the relationship, and I find out how I'm going to open that door. Sometimes it's hardcore safety, it's engineering, it's technical stuff because maybe it's in manufacturing. When I talk to our salespeople, senior execs, my door of entry is well-being and mental health. It's not hardcore safety. So I adapt the way I talk to them. And if I get them on board, they will then start to influence their people. And it really is almost like one step at a time. But at our level, it's important to set the frame within which we work. We've also changed the name of our EHS people to either professionals or leaders. Because if you call them experts, then they get put into the drawer of experts and not thought of leaders. And so I think that's very, very important. So that's one of the stories. When it comes to change in senior management, two very quick stories. I had, when I worked for a global aluminium and packaging company, I had 50% of my time was the corporate position, 50% of my time was in one of the business groups. The business group was packaging, and the lady that was at the head had a reputation of not following any of the rules when she went on site. She didn't wear safety shoes, she didn't want to wear the fluorescent jackets, because this was her world. She was the big boss. So I sat down with her, and I thought, well, this is a crossroads in my life, and this is something that I think EHS professionals have to face occasionally. I was either going to be successful or I was going to be fired. And I sat down with her and said, and basically, the way you conduct yourself at work is the reason why you don't have the same results, because she was very results-orientated, you know, got to speak the language of the person in front of you, compared to the aluminium sector. And I said, but if you want to be changed, and if you want to be better than the aluminium sector in performance, this was in 2000, then I can help you. And I will make you a visible safety champion. And I don't care if you believe it, but I want the other people to believe it. She became one of the best ever safety, and I'm going to say professionals, that I ever met in my life. Because when she started that journey, she felt good. She felt she was contributing. It was beyond productivity. And as a result, she got more interested in health and safety. And she took that with her to her next company where she was actually CEO of a very large construction company. And it stayed with her for life. Do I have a third story?
Ask,
Do I have time?
Ask Karina.
No,
yes,
I'll give it to Karina. I'll give it to Karina.
Yes, we do.
Come back to me if there's time for my third story.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
You can get the mic back again, Malcolm. Just in a second, after Ralph. Yeah. All right. So to me, it's really also about ensuring that HCC or us is directly integrated with the business strategy. And here, I think you mentioned it in some format, Malcolm, but it's really about the narrative where everybody understands how us is a priority, what it means, and how we all influence it, no matter where we are in an organization or in that system of all sorts of processes. It's also about being super crisp around what are the goals when it comes to safety and us, and what are the expectations to everybody working in our companies. And this is also with a focus around how is this creating value. We need to be capable of articulating that very, very clearly so that everybody understands it, no matter if you are in the front line, in the operational lines, or you are in an executive leadership position. Besides keeping the right people accountable for the right things with clear expectations, it's really also about empowerment. Empowerment and engagement of the front line. I already spoke a little to that. But it's really crucial to ensure that level of ownership locally to empower and unlock continuous improvement around safety throughout the entire organization, meaning that it's not only something that us leaders can do, but it's really bringing site managers along, bringing operational leaders along, and all their teams in creating much better safety improvements and innovations. And then it's about consistency. Enable that safety is visible and tangible in every corner, making sure that executives, leaders grow a muscle where safety is consistently prioritized in all communication, in all decisions, and in routines, even basic routines like doing a safety moment or ensuring that when you have your monthly performance review, it's not only about financial results and targets and how well are we doing it, but it is also about safety, the lagging and the leading indicators. That is key. And then speaking of the leading indicators, that is also a theme a lot of us have been talking about on this conference here in Osaka. Bringing operational leaders alongside in developing and finding the right leading indicators, that is also very, very powerful. That really creates ownership to a different level. It directly influences safety throughout the organization.
And Karina, may I ask you a question? Because I was intrigued. Someone mentioned the supply chain. In a huge company such as yours in maritime transport, do you see the supply chain as part of the realm of your responsibility or not?
Can you say the last part again? I didn't hear it.
Do you see the supply chain and the taking care of those other employees that in rigor do not form part of your own company as part of your responsibility? Or not?
I think we all have a responsibility to what we see, what we hear, what we experience in one way or the other, right? And then there can be points where it will be difficult for us to directly influence, but we can always influence. Absolutely.
Thank you. Excellent. Rolf, please. If you could translate also into some real-world examples.
I mean, just I would like also to comment the topic of supply chain. Of course, I mean, for international companies, everybody should work safely and stay healthy who works for our companies. So no matter whether it's a contractor or own employee, so no doubt. Yeah, I would
because
like
you definitely exercise a gigantic influence. That's why it's a triple.
Yeah, I mean, I give you an example. So,
yes.
for instance, in developing countries like I would call India developing country somehow, yeah, because of the working conditions. Here we faced a lot of issues with the contractors. Yeah. Most of our incidents happened with contractors on our premises, on our construction sites, and so on. And then we started to set up a training center to train all our contractors in basic tasks like working at height, working with electricity, and these kind of things. and only contractors who went through this training center are allowed
That's fantastic.
to appear on our construction sites and on our premises. So just as an example.
Yeah.
I would like to echo what Malcolm said. Surprise, surprise, leaders are human beings. So when you try to get their commitment and awareness, you need to answer their question, what's in for me? In two dimensions. One is how to solve their problems. Are you able to solve their problems? And the second one is how to make them shine. Yeah? And when you get this, then you know how to interact with leaders and managers, because they do not have so many times. They have business problems and whatever. And when you come around the corner with, oh, I have something with health and well-being, hey, come on, I mean, I need but this is reality. And problem solving, I give you some examples. During the pandemic, they turned around to us and said, can you help me? I do not understand the virus. I do not understand epidemiology. So please help me. And I was in a good position because I'm a medical doctor and was like, hello, yeah, I can help. And that was also a turning point in the perception and in the image of our entire EHS organization, the pandemic. Because we managed that our entire company went through the pandemic without any, let's say, major issues. And we performed better than our competition because we were better prepared. So, as one example. The other example is green deals. So in 21, the European Union announced 16 new environmental laws around this Green Deal, and they turned around, can you help me? I do not understand CSRD and these kind of things. So we did our job and helped them out and solved the problem. With safety, it was a little bit different. At the beginning, when I started at Siemens in 2009, as I said, management turned around to me and said, when an incident happened, it's your responsibility. You are the health and safety guy, you are responsible. I said, come on, hey, guys, are you crazy? The turnaround was then when we decided to let that we created a problem for the top management, and we let the CEOs in person report to the managing board on fatalities and serious incidents, to make it personal, without my contribution, without my involvement. So they have to show up at the managing board to explain what happened, why it happened, and what they are planning to do to avoid a similar incident. And that cured, so to speak in medical language, a lot. And the first reaction in many cases was, oh, Ralf, can you help me? I need a better EHS officer, a better EHS consultant. Because before that, they took somebody, appointed somebody who was left in the organization somewhere. But then you got to understand, oh, I need a better professional support. So, and that also changed a lot in the entire organization. And meanwhile, we were able also to set targets on a global level on well-being. So it's not to use these old-fashioned lagging indicators like lost time injury frequency rate or whatever kind of things, outdated, completely outdated. And we are now using the so-called work well-being score as a score who tells us how people feel at work. Not why they are feeling like that, but how they feel. And that is triggered by 4 questions. One is happiness at work. Second is job satisfaction. The third is purpose. And the fourth is stress at work. And then when you see something, in the organization, some red flags in the organization, then you can step in and can help the teams to identify why is it like it is, and then to define the respective improvement measures, and to help the local management to improve the performance of people and also to improve the working conditions. And that is also a good measure to get the awareness and the commitment of leaders. And finally, and I was talking about a vision, EHS is meanwhile intrinsic how we make decisions and how we make business. It's not something extra like in the past, like a satellite surrounding the planet of our company. It's intrinsic how we make decisions. And one example, I was 3 weeks ago in Brazil, and our CEO in Brazil proudly told me, Ralf, I didn't sign a contract with a customer because he doesn't meet our safety standards. 10 million contract not signed because not meeting the safety standards. And I congratulated him and said, wow, you are a role model. And we have also a role model sitting here, Faisal Kazi, our CEO from Canada, who was yesterday here on stage. Yeah, and here you can see exactly how we moved from compliance-driven company now to a people-centered, human-centered company.
Wonderful. Ralf, thank you very much, all of you. We are in depth with you, Malcolm, because we wanted to know the third story, but we're pressured by time. Please, a great round of applause to all of our panel. Thank you for sharing your insights and your valuable experiences with us.